Welcome back to another XRP update. AMMs, we got 4 to go. We're almost there. Awesome. I'm really excited about this. I got some information about Swift. We're going to talk about Enbridge. We are going to talk about Dubai. We're going to discuss how much money is in bank deposits and why I think that's going to be a true factor in XRP's high price. We're going to get into some CBD stuff. There's just all kinds of good information. So I hope you can stick with me through this whole video as I go through this information. I hope you learned something. I hope you have some fun. Let's go ahead and do it. So 4 to go, right? If we go to the XRP amendments, looks like we have 26 voters. The threshold is 28 of 35, and we are 74.29%. And so what we need to do here, guys, if you don't know, we need to get to 80%, and we need to have a 2-week consensus above 80%, and AMMs will be implemented onto the XRP Ledger, and we can start making some passive income with our XRP, which would be sweet. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of talk about settlement times being moved up, right? And Swift really is kind of at the heart of this, right? They're the ones who have all of these banking connections globally. As the cost of security settlement fails to rise, the industry is increasingly turning to the unique transaction identifier, also known as the UTI, to enhance end-to-end transparency across the settlement chain. Find out why early adopters have put the standard at the heart of their strategies to avoid fails, increasing efficiency, and reducing cost, right? And then thanks to Anna Lorthrius from the DTCC. I played a clip from the DTCC in my last video, but I want you to kind of see this being echoed, right? This is actually today's date. Check this out. When you order a lift through a rideshare app, you can track just about every step of the journey in real time. Not only does the app tell you that your car will arrive, but it notifies you if there's any delays or problems along the way. Yet our ability to monitor security settlement transactions, which have been much higher in value until recently, has been quite limited. This lack of transparency increases the risk of trade fails, as problems may go undetected until it's too late. Trade fails not only cost the industry billions of dollars each year, but they exacerbate market risk as well. Fails to happen for several reasons. While higher transaction volumes triggered by volatility are a major factor, operational issues are also to blame. These include things like issues with inventory management or matching discrepancies caused by inaccurate or incomplete standing settlement instructions. So there's a lot of issues along the way, and they're trying to, fill in these gaps. They're trying to make it easier for money to move border to border or business to business. And, Swift really is at the heart of that. So we'll have to see how all this plays out, but you're seeing a T+1 happening, right? Which is right here, the US and Canada and Mexico adopting T+1 in May 2024. This will be a whole lot less time to resolve the settlement of trade expectations, right? So we want to see T+0, right? Which is instant settlement. And that's really where I think XRP, XLM, and some other assets can come into play and really, really help out. And Medico is putting out a lot of information. Great article by Medico. UAE is a thriving digital assets hub. Progressive regulation spurs innovation. The UAE's share in global crypto market surged by 500% between July 2021 and June 2020 and 2021, reaching over 25 billion in transaction value, right? And here's a clip.
In order to be amongst you here today and to explain the Dubai story, actually. So we started very early. Dubai was very interested in blockchain. In the very early days, we were very keen on understanding what value does Bitcoin bring at the time to the UAE. And in 2014, we actually organized the region's first Bitcoin conference, and it was organized by local people here, as well as some people from the GCC, as well as some internationals as well. So it was called the Bitcoin Conference, and it was
good name.
Who then started a huge event for crypto called Satoshi Roundtable as well. So after that, in 2016, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan announced the blockchain strategy for Dubai, and to have every applicable use case in blockchain by 2020. So that was the deadline, 4 years to realize every applicable use case. But we didn't stop there. We partnered with companies to literally deliver value not only for the government, but also for the private sector. And we continue to do that. We established, for example, in 2018, the Dubai Blockchain Center as one of the initiatives of Area 2071, which is the hub for innovation in Dubai. So that sends a huge signal that we believe that blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies are both part of our future, and we think that they will play a huge role as a force multiplier in all things in life. In some sectors more than others. For example, we see a huge tie-in with and blockchain, tie-in with digitization and also digital transformation, and what crypto and blockchain can do.
So when you have Dubai out here cheerleading for crypto, it's a great thing for the entire space because it puts pressure on other countries like the US. You know, they're basically Dubai saying that, hey, we want to be the Silicon Valley of Dubai, right? And we understand that some countries, US and a few others, are not taking it seriously. And we're going to not only give these companies tax breaks, we want to hire the best and the brightest in the world because they know this is where the future is, right? This is how money moves. There's so many use cases that we haven't even thought of yet, but they know if they attract the best people, they're going to have one of the best countries to live in around blockchain and tokenized value. Okay, so let's keep it going. So breaking, this is from Jack the Rippler. First cross-border payment made using UAE's digital dirham. First ever digital transaction made by China through mBridge platform powered by the BIS. This is saying XRP, CBDC. And then here you go, $13.6 million, which is kind of a drop in the bucket. It's not crazy, but you have to start somewhere, and 13.6 million sounds like a good number to start. A dirham transaction from Central Bank, UAE to China in partnership with the Bank of International Settlements. Here's some just highlighted stuff. This transaction amounting to 50 million dirhams was facilitated through mBridge. Got it. mBridge is a collaborative project initiated in 2021, represents a collective effort by central bank monetary authorities from China, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the UAE in partnership with the BIS. mBridge leverages a single platform direct access model utilizing the hot stuff plus consensus mechanism to enable real-time peer-to-peer transactions. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. And you also have great partnerships, right? And where all this starts is you have to build out infrastructure, right? You can't just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to solve a $100 trillion payment problem. It just doesn't work like that. So you need to partner with companies like Trengalo, right? And they have partnerships, right? So Trengalo, 5,000 payout partners in 70 countries, right? So you partner with the companies that have, all of the, it's like a spider web, right? And they have all the partnerships, 5,000 here, 5,000 there. Soon you're going to have, 30, 40, 50,000 banking partnerships all through, just a few handful of really amazing partnerships. So let's play this real quick. Ripple partner.
We always have to keep up with what is the best for the customer, what is best for our partners.
My name is Sia. I'm the founder of Trengalo, a cross-border payment specialist.
Trengalo is a cross-border payment. We enable fintech companies, banks, or financial institutions to process cross-border payments seamlessly across the world. Trengalo started working with Ripple in the year 2021, and we have partnered with various bank services on both on the blockchain as well as on liquidity-based solutions. Our main focus B2.
These customers are mainly financial institutions, and we also increasingly serve
Some of the corporate customers who have global needs for their pay, and these customers are diverse geographically. The speed is definitely a game changer. The ability to tap on liquidity anytime, even during weekend or holidays, makes the business able to operate seamlessly. We are able to end-to-end process a payment in less than a minute. The cost of supporting, verifying this transaction is minimal. So everyone wins because customer is happy with the service. So I think that great chemistry and great team spirit is what makes our relationships and our partnership work so well.
All right, you kind of get the point. I don't need to play that whole thing, but this is really what I want to talk about. All right, if you stayed through the video, this is the golden moment. All right. So ISO posted this, the rise of digital deposit account plus interoperability. All right. And this is where I think value is going to come from. Check this out.
Has been guiding financial institutions around the world to digitize their deposit business by tokenizing it and encouraging banks to tokenize their respective deposit accounts. Now, this is very different from the original idea of a central bank digital currency. The central bank digital currency was supposed to be a token that is issued by the central bank and then distributed widely, which conceptually raises the point that if central banks have direct access to the end user, then what is the purpose of having a commercial bank?
It's Stanford. I was like, this guy, it has to be Stanford. The bus just came by at Stanford.
And at the same time, I think the thinking in the Bank for International Settlements and some of the leading regulators that make up its membership has been that central banks should not issue a retail central bank digital currency, but a wholesale one, which is like a backstop to the tokens that they're going to be asking their respective banks to issue. Now, a few countries are already ready to do that. Commercial banks have been experimenting with tokenizing the deposit business. And something that I found out was that some of these countries are not even in the developed part of the world. They're in Africa. And in fact, I have a very dear friend, Andre, who's been helping African banks to tokenize their deposit account. So something very, very important is happening there. Now,
all right, there's a second clip here I want to play. And then I'm going to show you how much money is in these deposits.
Now, tokenizing the deposit account is not the same as a stable coin. A stable coin has to have an asset backing, a balance sheet, an accounting treatment, and then it's also traded. So therefore, it's never at parity, supply and demand. The traditional bank deposits are only as good as there is bank deposits. In other words, if you have $1 in the bank, they tokenize that dollar, and that's all you get. And it's not traded, but it's a utility token to pay for your bills to merchants that will accept these bank tokens, and the central banks mandating that all of these tokens issued by different banks in their respective jurisdictions will always be interoperable. The long-term consequence of this is that as people become familiar with the idea of a digitized token, they will become very comfortable with a whole range of applications in the crypto space. And that's where the decentralization of finance will start to kick in. And the rules for dealing with digitized business is going to be totally different, are going to be very different from the rules that traditional banks have been accustomed to. So those are my...
Okay, so how much money is in, banks globally that we could digitize deposits, right? Because that's kind of what we were just talking about here, right? And if you ask our good friend Bard tells you about $183 trillion. This is 2021. Right? So this is 3 years later. As of 2021, the total assets of banks worldwide were estimated around 183 trillion US dollars, right? And then, of course, I asked Google, which is kind of the same thing here, but 183 trillion as of 2021. They don't really have some really great up-to-date 2023 numbers, which it's hard, right? Because all of these banks are different, but there's hundreds of trillions of dollars of value that we can tokenize and bring onto something like the XRP Ledger, where that value can move seamlessly, cheaply, and have all of the banks need to have sanction screening. They need to have KYC. They have to have AML. There's all of these things that have to go into being able to send a bank deposit, right? My wife works at the bank. She comes home and she kind of talks to me about some of this stuff, and I'm like, it sounds pretty boring, but like there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, right? And so that is why when you look at the top 50 tokens, right, if you go to, like, where do you think they're going to, like, they need liquidity, right? That is like the number one thing that you're going to need to do all this, right? But what out of all of these tokens, right, or cryptocurrencies could you actually use to start doing this, right? I mean, I haven't heard of, AVES or ADA or Tron or Polkadot or Chainlink. I haven't heard any of these companies really getting into bank and tokenizing deposits, but Ripple's been here for what, 10 years trying to do something similar, right? And so, I mean, when you look at even the top 25, top 50 tokens, there's not much to choose from, right? And I do think the technology has already been chosen. Anyways, let's talk about this one more thing, and I'll wrap this one. Cross-border payments infrastructure projects in 2024, fundamental payment infrastructure changes in 2024. So examples of cross-border infrastructure projects, you have the Clearinghouse, which is April 2024, payment infrastructure changes, replacing payment messages through CHIPS payment system to ISO messages. You have the EPI, which is the European Payments Initiative. You have SWIFT, CARICOM Banks, this is Africa and the Caribbean, Pay.UK, Banco Central do Brazil, and then you have Bank of Indonesia, right? So a lot of infrastructure is happening this year, right? Updates to it, and it will be a slow burn and a slow rollout to get all of this stuff updated, but once it all happens, you know, you definitely want to be holding the assets that these banks are going to want to use to move that value. And I think XRP, XLM, and some other assets are at the very top of that list. And that's why I still hold my XRP, and I probably always will. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Aloha.